If you follow any of my recipes, you'll notice that I always use Celtic salt. And the reason being is Celtic salt is very different from table salt. Common table salt actually surprised me when I read the ingredients because it contains much more than just salt. It contains a lot of other synthetic minerals that have been added, and it's really highly refined. Common table salt, if you pick up a box, is a highly processed refined salt, and it has synthetic chemicals added to them as well as flowing agent. Because it's so refined, they have to add iodine back in, and it's usually in the form of potassium iodide, which isn't so healthy. Some table salts even contain fluoride and aluminum and things like dextrose and decaking agents. So essentially, table salt is highly refined, not good for your body. It actually can be toxic. If you're on a low sodium diet, some people can still use Celtic salt. The main source of getting table salts in high doses is like if you're eating fast foods, takeout, or even canned and packaged foods. So sticking to whole foods and cooking at home and using Celtic salt, you can still have the taste of salt in your meal. It's good for you. Our bodies actually need salt. And the funny thing about Celtic salt, if you notice, this actually doesn't contain just salt, because it's a whole raw salt that's been harvested from the ocean in a clean, pristine area. And if you look at it, 1.5 grams of this salt, which you would think would be 1.5 grams of sodium, it isn't. It's only 480 milligrams of sodium, because the rest is minerals, which our bodies need, and our bodies need the salt as well in this sort of a natural form. This salt is actually doctor recommended by naturopaths and regular doctors. It's a very nutritious salt. It has a really nice flavor. The minerals contained in it naturally, these are naturally occurring, they're not added back in or anything like that. There's 82 trace minerals in this Celtic salt. And the opposite of table salt, Celtic salt can actually help balance your blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure and you do want to use some salt, Celtic salt is much better alternative for you to use. It's also very high in naturally occurring iodine. Not something that's been added back in. This is naturally occurring minerals in the ocean water. And iodine protects the body against radiation and pollution and things like that. It's a good balance of electrolytes as well. So if you're working out or you overexert yourself, you actually do need to add a little salt to your water to balance your body's electrolytes. And salt in this type of form, these natural salts, are actually good for your body to help resist infections and bacterial diseases. And it even balances your alkaline acidic levels. And some say it's even good for allergies and other things like skin diseases. You can get a version of this which is pretty much the exact same thing. It just may have some more sand or something in it, a little cheaper, and it's the Celtic brand that you can use in your bathtub. So I'm going to show you what it looks like, because this one is quite different. It's a wet salt, and you can get it in a grinder, or you can buy it in a fine ground, which is more expensive, and personally I rather the little chunks, because this is a chunky gray salt. I'm going to take a little bit out. And here's what it looks like. These little granules. And I just dusted in pretty much everything I'm cooking, and even over top of things that I have on my dinner plate. And I can actually just eat little pieces of this. I love it. So it is a little different when you're starting out to get used to have a chunky type of salt like this. So if you wanted to, you can still get the Celtic in a fine ground, or you can get the little grinder. You can get your first purchase in a grinder if you want, and then you can buy these bulk bags like I do and top it up after. If you are trying to reduce your salt intake but you still love the taste of salt, and if you want a healthier salt because your body does need salt, look at preparing more meals at home and using a pure mineral rich salt like Celtic sea salt, and that's the type of salt that our bodies can utilize, and actually we need it. So I purchased mine at well.ca. It's the best price that I could find for Canadians. They have free shipping when you order over $35, and they have a lot of different organic things there too. So I tend to place an order with other things, with my nut butters and stuff, as well as the Celtic salt at the same time, and avail of the free shipping. And if you're in the US, well, that CA does ship to the US as well, but you may be able to get it cheaper somewhere else, so you can look around and try to find a good Celtic salt. I know that there's some people going to ask me about other salts, like pink Himalayan salt and the darker red salts. And those are certainly much better than any table salt. You should really just remove table salt, find a box that's in your house now, and don't use it for anything to eat with. You can use it for salt clay ornaments or something like that. Use it for crafts, but don't eat any more standard table salt. As for the red salts versus the ocean salts, the red salts are like land-based clay salts, and those have their purposes as well. I do find they may be a little high in ground source iron, so for me, I don't think it's the ultimate salt. Our bodies are made up of water very much like ocean water, and I think that pure harvested ocean water sea salts like this Celtic salt is the best salt for health reasons, and it's just the best salt for taste as well. It doesn't leave that saltiness on your tongue. It's salty. It tastes salty. I'm just going to eat some now, so I can actually just eat these little cubes like they are. But it's not harsh and salty. It would just be delicious on any kind of dessert, like salted caramel or anything like that. Check it out. I even make my own saline solutions using this salt. Saline solutions for like an antibacterial hand spray, or if you need to wash a wound. I always use Celtic sea salt, so look for a good, pure, natural salt like the Celtic salt.